Hey friends, welcome to the second episode of Countdown to June Ticking Louder. General Langley publicly praised the Ivorian military's professionalism, calling them a cornerstone of regional stability, and emphasized joint training exercises and intelligence sharing in counter-terrorism efforts. But was this the full extent of their discussions? Did the meetings conclude with diplomatic pleasantries, or did they delve into more sinister conversations? Ones never meant for public record. In a region where coups have become instruments of foreign intervention, and where gold, influence and power are traded behind closed doors, taking official statements at face value would be naive. As the clock ticks toward June 2025, the shadows surrounding President Traoré grow darker, and the forces aligning against him are not just desperate, they are coordinated. General Langley boasted that joint military exercises and intelligence sharing with nations like Ivory Coast have made great strides in countering terrorism. Yet the reality on the ground tells a different story. The Sahel remains engulfed in relentless violence, and despite AFRICOM funneling $65 million into counter-terrorism and border security in northern Ivory Coast in 2024, instability has only worsened. This discrepancy forces a disturbing question. Are these funds truly being used to combat terrorism, or are they quietly fueling chaos in neighboring countries like Burkina Faso? The theory is not as far-fetched as it seems. Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara is no stranger to leveraging instability for power. In 2011, he was accused of financing rebels to destabilize his own country, a ruthless strategy that helped him seize control. Moreover, Ouattara has long been viewed as a loyal ally of France, working to protect French interests in Africa. So when a US general meets with Ouattara just days after an assassination attempt on Traoré, the timing raises serious red flags. What was truly discussed behind closed doors? No one can say for certain, but the patterns are too suspicious to ignore. There is also a deeper, more personal dimension. As previously revealed, Ivory Coast has become France's key instrument in destabilizing Burkina Faso. Ouattara's familial and political ties extend across the border, making interference in Burkinabe affairs not just feasible, but natural. If Traoré were removed and Burkina Faso returned to Western-aligned civilian rule, France would swiftly regain its foothold in the Sahel. The panic over Niger's military takeover was telling. France, which relies on Niger for 20% of its uranium and as a critical oil transit route, saw its interests threatened. The stakes are not just regional, they are global. With the rise of military-led governments in Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, the old order in West Africa has collapsed, and with it, the easy access France and the US once had to vital resources. The Sahel is no longer an open highway for uranium, gold and oil. For Washington, the loss extends beyond minerals. It includes strategic military bases crucial for regional influence. These are losses the old powers will not accept quietly. The solution, in their eyes, is simple: remove Traoré. France, desperate to reclaim its dominance, wants him gone. And the US, as history shows, has often backed France when African sovereignty clashes with Western interests. This would not be the first time. Thomas Sankara was assassinated in 1987 with France's blessing and America's silent approval. Muammar Gaddafi was hunted down in 2011 under NATO intervention after challenging the global financial system. Now, the same playbook is being used against Traoré. Same actors, same tactics, same goal: to stop his vision of an independent Africa before it spreads beyond Burkina Faso. But there is one factor they failed to account for. This is not 1987, nor even 2011. This is the age of the internet, social media, and a globally connected citizenry that questions, resists, and exposes. Across Africa and beyond, millions have risen in defense of Traoré, refusing to let history repeat itself. The battle is far from over, and this time the world is watching.